Right, so in this video now, I'm going to start introducing you to you, or how it is that you internally process life events, situations, so you can now start better understanding yourself in view of better understanding and relating to other people. So please let me introduce you to John. John's a nice guy. He's in a bit of a dilemma. He's looking a little bit confused here. He's thinking to himself. He's wondering, how in control am I? Really? Have you ever woke up one day and asked yourself this question? What exactly is it in life that I'm actually in control of? Because we can sometimes go through our teenage years or our 20s, sometimes even into our 30s, and we think we've got it all together. We think we understand ourselves. But I don't know about you, but I think I reached probably a stage in my early 30s where I realized that the more I come to know about life, the more I come to understand myself, the more I grow to appreciate how little I understand and how little I know, right? This is kind of life, isn't it? So, a question that we can all do with really asking ourselves, how in control are we? How in control are you? How in control are you of your actions and your habits and your behaviors? Are you in control of your thoughts? Are you in control of your emotions? Are you in control of your habits and your behaviors? Or do your thoughts, your emotions, your habits, your attitudes, your behaviors, do these things control you? How in control are you? This is a pretty big question, right? I would suggest that self-control is actually the ultimate expression of maturity in life. And maturity not being representative of age, but instead being represented by our acceptance of responsibility. Right, now I've mentioned this a couple of times throughout the course up until now, and when teacher repeats something, it's because it's important. All right, take note, my friends. Maturity is never representative of a person's age, but is always going to be represented by an individual's willingness to assume responsibility for all the aspects of their life, for all of their goals, including their thoughts, their feelings, their emotions, their habits, their actions and their behaviors, and for every single outcome in all areas of their life. Now, this might seem like a tall order, but I promise this is the first step that we can take towards living freer, more liberated lives. And if we're living lives like this so far, that's fantastic. We're just now going to be getting a framework for helping other people to take greater degrees of responsibility for themselves too. So here I want to show you and present you with a very, very basic illustration on how it is that we internally process life, events, circumstances, situations, people, relationships, all right? Now, as I've mentioned, in life, we cannot control those things that happen to us. We can't control the weather. We can't even control whether we wake up tomorrow morning or whether we can't, although many of us will live as if we're going to live forever. We take life for granted sometimes, don't we? But here's the thing. What other people say to us, what other people do to us, how they are towards us, whether they judge us, whether they like us, whether they loathe us, whether they use us, abuse us, treat us like royalty, or treat us like filth. We cannot control how other people are towards us. We can't control the politicians. We can't control the religious leaders. We can't control society. We can't control the economy. We cannot control all of those business people out there. We can't control the greedy folks. We can't control the abusive folks. We can't control anyone or anything other than how it is that we choose to respond to these people and to these things. Our experiences is all about stuff that happens to us, isn't it? It could be weather, it could be a holiday, it could be an event, it could be a win, a loss, a success, a failure. It could be being included somewhere. It could be being rejected somewhere. They're all experiences that make up our personal history. Yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift, it's the present, which is ironically the part of life that most people don't live. Many people get trapped in the past or trapped in the future, remembering the good old days or the bad old days, or looking forward to the better days that are yet to come, or in anticipation of what they perceive to be more of that which they've experienced in the past. Are you with me? Are you following on? I'm doing my best to paint quite a holistic picture here for you. Events can sometimes be future expectations events, right? They don't just have to be historical events, things that have happened in the past, because sometimes people respond to what they think is going to happen rather than what is actually happening. To give you an example of this, I was working with a young lady once, and to be honest with you, this was one coaching, helping relationship that I had that just stumped me. This lady had, I think her boyfriend or her man friend at the time was working in America, and she wanted to go across and see him, but she came to me with this burning anxiety. And I thought, okay, well, I'm not here to fix the emotion. I can't do that. But I was trying to figure out what the cognitive distortion was, or what the unhelpful pattern of thinking was that was really triggering the emotion. And I couldn't find it. It took me weeks. I couldn't find anything. And after about 4 weeks, I said, I'm terribly sorry. I have got absolutely no idea what is triggering this burning anxiety in you. And as the conversation unfolded, it wasn't that she was actually anxious about anything happening. She was just anxious about feeling anxious. And this made her feel anxious, just thinking about feeling anxious. And I thought, my goodness, I had no idea that was even possible. But my friend, yes, all things are possible inside of this fantastic mind of ours, all right? And this is pretty much where all of our interpretations happen. So all of this stuff happens on the outside of us, but how we internally process the world, other people, our experiences, our history, our future expectations, or relate to ourselves determines all of these things, our attitude, the rules that we operate and that we live by, the demands that we place upon ourselves, or the demands or the expectations that we place upon other people, the beliefs that we go on to develop about who we are, about who we aren't, about who we're capable of, who we or what we aren't capable of, are the beliefs that we have of who other people should be for us, how other people should behave. All right? Now remember, all of this stuff here, our attitudes, our rules, our beliefs, they're all going to be in response to the meanings that we assign on to all of these past events. We're meaning-making machines. So every single thing that's happened to us in the past, we've assigned a meaning onto. The only thing that we're not always going to be certain of is whether the meaning that we assigned onto a past event was an accurate interpretation or whether it wasn't. Remember, we're brought into the world as clean slates, as babies. And it's not like anyone is actively looking out for us and correcting us when we grow to assume incorrect assumptions and think inaccurate thoughts and then come to or grow to believe, inaccurate beliefs, things that just aren't true. Why? Because all of this happens inside of our minds. Unconsciously, it's just something that we do automatically. It's not like anyone guides us or coaches us or teaches us how to think and interpret right in life. We just do the best with what we have. And unfortunately, this can sometimes do some people more damage than good. Sometimes we reach a stage in life, perhaps in our 20s or our late 20s, early 30s, sometimes in our 40s or maybe even our 50s, where we then have to go through the process of life of unlearning everything that we've learned, all right? And all of our learnings are generally going to be the beliefs that we've developed in response to the meanings that we've assigned onto things. If we have gone through, decades of our life assigning incorrect assumptions and incorrect and inaccurate meanings onto our life's events, then we might very well be building and basing our life upon a foundations of complete mistruths, lies, falsehoods, inaccuracies. All right? So growing and maturing in life is about growing up and out of the limiting beliefs and ideas and assumptions that we developed back when we're young and into something more substantial, something more grounded, something more accurate, something more truthful. It's the truth that sets us free in life to be ourselves and relate to other people in the most effective ways. But look at this, all right? Let's just say, for example, you were to have a conversation with another person. Now, you've got no idea what this other person is going through. All you're aware of right now is what you're going through. So this person is having a bad day and they, speak down to you, or they speak in a really dishonouring, really disrespectful way, something like that. And then, one of your rules is that it's not okay to be spoken to in such a way. So the meaning that you then assign onto this or the person or this conversation that you're having is this person is rude and abrupt. So what happens? You might start feeling angry. And then what happens? Well, you go on to give this person a piece of your mind. And it all just happened because you responded more to your assumption of what this person meant when they said what they did, rather than taking time to stop and say, excuse me, sir, it seems like you're having a bit of a challenging day today. I just wonder what's going on for you. I would love to understand you, because the last thing I would want to do is judge you unfairly, because that's certainly something that I wouldn't like to have anyone do to me. But we don't do that, do we? Nope. We generally have two sets of standards in life that we operate out of. So when it comes to how we relate to other people, we will 9 times out of 10 judge another person because of what they say and what they do. All right? We'll very rarely even take time to consider what another person's intentions or motives actually were. We'll take often no time whatsoever to even investigate what this other person might be going through. They're going to have their own life story going on right now as well, by the way. Instead, what we do, we quickly jump to an assumption. This is one of those NATs, negative automatic thought patterns. The thought pops into our head, we act as if it's real, and then we behave in response to what we think is going on rather than what might actually be going on. So what then happens? You blow your temper, you lose your rag, you give this person a piece of your mind, and then this person starts crying, and they say to you, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. My little dog died this morning. I'm just having a really bad day." And then your attitude completely changes because you're presented with some new information. All right? This is how quickly our attitude can change. All right? It's imperative that in life we learn how to respond more to facts than feelings, because most people respond more to feelings than facts. I'm going to share with you a nice little model in the next section of the course that's going to really break this down and hopefully solidify this idea in your psyche for you. All right, so what I'm saying here, all right, is all of our interpretations, the assumptions that we make, all of the cognitions that go on inside of our minds impact how we feel. It is not the other way around. This is the natural order of things. Events must happen. We then assign meaning and interpret these events, and then we feel a certain way. So it goes without saying, if we are the most positively outlooking people in the world and we're assigning fantastic meanings onto all things all of the time, of course we're going to be living life in quite an uplifted way pretty much all of the time. But if we're not positively inclined and sometimes have a tendency of catastrophizing, blowing things out of proportion, things like that, assuming the worst, then we might stand at risk of living life in a place of dysfunction and unhelpfulness in terms of our attitudes, habits, actions, and behaviors. Why? Because we're going to be having this tendency to respond more to our emotions than the facts, what's actually going on in our outside world. But everything happens in here. So it goes without saying that if we can get better at managing what's going on in here, then guess what? We can get better at managing our emotions and also our responses or our reactions to those things that go on in our outside world. And this is pretty much what I'm talking about when I suggest that it's good for us as human beings to strive to develop self-control. We manage our minds so that in turn we can manage our emotions. Once we're able to manage our emotions, our habits, our actions, our behaviors, and our responses are very rarely going to be sporadic. Instead, they're going to be well considered, wise, and mature, so that we don't get out there and make a fool of ourselves and assume the worst of other people, because we know from experience that that's certainly not how we ourselves would like to be treated by others. Ain't that just the truth? So listen, this is a very, very simple model. All right, this is the main CBT model. This is what cognitive behavioral therapy looks to really explore and start to make shifts in. When we make changes in our internal world, our inner world, we start consequentially being able to make positive changes and influences in our outside world. So the inner game comes first, the outer game comes second. In the videos that follow, we're going to continue to unpack and explore this idea so that you better understand exactly what I mean.